Hi, Tanya here with Faithful Family Coaching. In Matthew 19, when Jesus made his very well-known statement about what God has joined together, let no man separate, the disciples made a very astute observation that if this is the case, in other words, if divorce is not an option, it's better not to marry. Have you found yourself thinking the same thing? I've got a question for you. When you were married, did you think that just because you were Christians that you would stay together forever because you were supposed to love each other just the way that you are? And after all, you don't believe in divorce. It seems like Christians use a lot of different excuses to behave badly in marriage, and yet they still believe that they're in a faithful Christian marriage. So I'm here to tell you today that faithful marriage is about more than just monogamy. It's a lot about how we treat each other. In my Faithful Marriage course, I will be talking about the 5 different areas faithfulness is really challenged in a marriage. First of these is in commitment. When thinking about commitment, ask yourself, do you keep your word most of the time? And before you answer too quickly, this includes whether you come home when you say you're going to. Do you agree to do things and then for whatever reason it doesn't get done? So faithfulness in marriage requires commitment to personal responsibility. Another area where faithfulness is challenged in marriage is the area of connection. Connection is being present and paying attention and listening to the people around you. When you are physically present, are you aware of what's going on around you? Do you only half listen while you're thinking about what happened at work today or thinking about the to-do list for tomorrow's activities? Faithfulness in marriage requires conscious connection with the person that you married. Communication is also another area of marriage that is challenged when it comes to faithfulness. Do you feel like you're being heard? Do you listen faithfully, or do you have a lot of miscommunications? How well do you communicate your expectations? Do you believe that keeping the peace means staying silent? Or do you think that conflict is resolved by who can yell the loudest? Faithfulness in marriage requires both intentional listening and clear communication. What part do distractions play in your marriage? Distractions are those things that we do to avoid unpleasant feelings or uncomfortable conversations. They can be anything from substance abuse to porn to simply being on your phone too much. Some people will prioritize church activity over family and justify it as being a good Christian, when really it's a distraction, a way of avoiding the difficulties of living with a number of people. Some people also use work or just busyness to avoid obligations and responsibilities at home. Faithfulness in marriage requires a willingness to be uncomfortable with difficult feelings. The final area that presents challenges to faithfulness in marriage is outside influences. How much influence do your parents or siblings have in your marriage? Do you choose them over your spouse and kids? Or what about that friend who exerts pressure on you to hang out with the guys and don't let your wife push you around? Or are you more concerned with how others will judge you in public than you are with creating loving relationships at home? Faithful marriage requires us to forsake all others, but this is not just about other love interests. Here's my final point. Faithful marriage depends on God's faithfulness. What is impossible for man is entirely possible for God. Not only that, God is able to do exceedingly abundantly more than we could ever ask or imagine. If you're ready to take the next steps in having a faithful marriage, go to faithfulfamilycoaching.com and register for the Faithful Marriage course today.